Okay, I know a lot of you watching are auditioning for summer programs. Big secret, you have a higher chance of getting into a higher level if you just... Hey dancers, it's Kirsten. Welcome back to the Confident Dancer YouTube channel. If you haven't yet watched my announcement video from last week, please do. I announced that I have, as you can tell, changed the name of this channel and a couple other things. If you have watched it and you showed your support, thank you so much. It meant the world. I got so many really nice comments and messages on Instagram in particular, and it really made my day. So thank you all so much. And just thank you for being here. Anyway, today I will be sharing with you my tips on what you can start to focus on and practice in your ballet classes in order to best prepare yourself for a successful audition season. That's a great experience for you. I really wanted to take this angle in the video today because I've shared over the years lots of videos about just, tips on what to do in your auditions in order to have a successful experience and to feel confident while you dance in these auditions. But I thought this would be an interesting approach to really talk about the classwork, because I know this is a time of year where a lot of dancers can really get in their heads. Class can be very stressful because you're just thinking of every audition that you have coming up and measuring every single success and mistake by the thought of like, will that be good enough for this program? It can be a tense time. So I wanted to encourage you with these tips on things you can actually start to put your energy and your focus towards in classes that will help you to be more comfortable and confident going into your auditions. And also, just as a little side note, this will be applicable for you whether you are auditioning over video or in person. I know a lot of people are doing both, so I'm going to have tips for all of you. So let's get into it. Okay, so this first point is going to have like two sides to the same coin. One for those of you auditioning in person, and then one for those of you who are auditioning over video. For those of you auditioning over video, I really want to encourage you to watch my video that I made over a year ago. It's called something like Hate Watching Yourself Dance. Watch this. I'll link it in the cards and then also in the description. So do watch that video. I really share a lot of helpful tips on first, why it's really important to get comfortable in front of the camera and to get comfortable watching yourself, but also what you can do to start to shift your mindset in order to make that an easier experience for you. Because I know a lot of dancers get very uncomfortable watching themselves over the video, and if you're going to be filming an audition video, and hey, if you already have, I know plenty of you already have, this is still a practice that you can use just for your own improvement, which is just to film yourself. Get really comfortable dancing in front of the camera, because it's super important to show that you're comfortable and confident. That energy and that body language honestly has a very powerful effect on how others who will be watching this, how they perceive you and how they feel about you. It's basic human psychology. When we exhibit really nervous or tense body language, it signals to the other person that we are unsure, that we're not certain in our own abilities, and that kind of plants a seed of doubt that kind of serves as a frame through which they watch the rest of the video. Versus if you're just owning what you have, you're comfortable in front of the camera, and of course this applies in person too, it really does transfer this sense of like, oh, okay, they know what they're doing. Even if it's not great, like it doesn't change your technique necessarily. Well, I mean, it kind of can. Body language, comfortable energy really helps, or physiology, I should say. It's really important to take the tips I shared in that video, start getting comfortable watching yourself and being seen. And for those of you, this is the other side of that same coin I was talking about. If you're auditioning in person, this is so important. Start getting really comfortable switching your position in the space of the room that you dance in. Choose a different bar spot. If you find yourself like really being attached to looking at yourself from the side, definitely watch yourself from the front, or dance in a spot where you can't see yourself in the mirror, and get really comfortable doing that. Intentionally put yourself in uncomfortable situations so that you can learn to be comfortable in those situations, whether it's for you, like, okay, for me, honestly, I'm uncomfortable dancing in the back. I trained myself to enjoy dancing at the front. There's usually more space. I feel more uninhibited, less inhibited. I'm also able to learn a lot faster because I could see the teacher so much better without distraction. So I personally like dancing in the front. But one thing I would do when I was preparing for my auditions back in the day is I would stand on the side. I would stand in the back because I knew very well that I could not place my sense of security in having everything my way. in the audition. So rather than hoping, I hope I get this number so I stand in the front, I hope I get this bar spot, and then you feel kind of freaked out when they line you up in the bar and it's the spot you hate, instead of making yourself kind of the victim to that circumstance, because you don't have that guarantee at all, you can start to take charge and take that empowered action to say, okay, what can I do? I can get comfortable not only switching my spacing, but also being seen. Get really used to being seen. So what you can do is, a lot of dancers are very, this used to be me, 100%. A lot of dancers are very uncomfortable practicing certain steps for fear that they might be seen while they're figuring something out. Obviously, in an audition, you're not necessarily going to be like practicing full out, whatever. You don't want to attract that kind of attention to yourself, but it's more on principle that you want to get accustomed to being seen. Because the thing is, in auditions, you're going to make a mistake. And so the best thing you can do is get comfortable, or at least neutral, okay, with people seeing you like not exactly how you want to be seen. Because the best thing you could do is just move on instead of getting stuck in this storm of like shame and fear and freaking out and tension. So that is my first big but very helpful tip for all of you. Tip number 2 is to start practicing my favorite, the growth mindset. So what the growth mindset is all about is, it is focusing your perspective and adopting the belief that you can grow in all sorts of areas in your life. There is potential for growth, and you have the capacity to make choices that help you make empowering changes. So instead of the fixed mindset, which looks like putting yourself in boxes of like, I haven't been good at turning since I was 12, so I must not be a natural turner. This person's a natural turner. That's that fixed mindset where you're looking for a box to put yourself in, and once you find your box, you just stay there. As if you found your label, you're stuck, great. But that only really hurts you. So it's okay to be honest with yourself that maybe something isn't comfortable for you yet. It's not your strength yet. But the growth mindset looks like saying, okay, what can I do to change? What is the next step for me? What can I learn here? That is always focusing on what's the next step we can take towards growth, because the presupposition, the belief is growth is possible. So here's the thing though. What I'm not suggesting is that you spend your time and energy in these few weeks leading up to auditions, or, you know, they've already started for a lot of you doing summer intensive auditions. The thing is, I would really recommend that you don't spend your energy right now looking at all your flaws and telling yourself that you need to be a drastically different dancer in the next 2 weeks in order to be successful at auditioning. Maybe the time for that, I mean, talking to yourself in a nice way, would have been like August or last semester. And hey, that's okay. We all are where we are, and that's okay. The best thing we can do is just embrace it and move forward. Okay, and we can have acceptance for where we're at. And one belief that really helps with that acceptance is that, especially in this day and age, there are all sorts of programs and opportunities out there, whether it's a training program, a company, whatever it is, performance opportunity, university. There are all sorts of opportunities for all sorts of dancers. And so, of course, if we get really attached to a certain definition of success, like getting into SAB, I mean, that was mine back in the day. I was gutted when I didn't get in, and I auditioned once. Girl, fixed mindset, but you know, I didn't know better. So anyway, what I would like you to do is take an assessment of where you're at right now in your technique, and just really focus on creating acceptance for where you're at. From that place of acceptance, you know, just deeply becoming okay with the fact that you're not going to be a drastically different dancer. You're going to show what you have more or less right now in these auditions. Like, just create some acceptance around that. And then from that place, you can use your classes to start thinking and practicing through the questions of like, okay, given what I have right now in my skill set, how can I package it to the best of my abilities? What are some things that I can start to show off or share? Hey dancers, Thanks so much for watching this video so far. I want to briefly talk to you about the Confident Dancer Coaching Program, which is a new and improved version of the mindset coaching program I've been doing for years with pre-professional and professional dancers from all over the world. So the Confident Dancer Coaching Program is a 4-month signature program where we really do the inner work of preparing your mindset, your emotional wellness, and your career strategy to accomplish your goals, get you to a place where your mind and your emotions help you to actually perform your best consistently, so that we can pair that with strategic action to help you perform your best with well-being in the process. I'm all about combining mental health, emotional wellness with all these aspects of optimum performance so that you can be a thriving dancer. There's no better time to engage with this than at the start of audition season. So if you want my support in really turning up the dial on your personal confidence, seeing yourself perform better than ever before because you're working on the mental aspect of that, you're not going to get that level of support at all in your technique classes. So that's just not what technique classes are meant for. So if you're in the place where you're like, I really want to perform my best, I want to feel awesome, I want to thrive as a dancer, I want to know that I'm doing my best, and I'm tired of things like self-doubt and insecurities getting in my way of that, or nervousness, I am here for you. I would love for you to check out this program, again, the Confident Dancer Coaching Program. I'm only taking 5 clients on for the month of January, and each month after that. Spots are limited, so check it out and apply today. I would love to support you. Link is in the description to my new website, kirstenkemp.com. Same URL, but new and improved website. If you do nothing else, just please go look at the website. It looks so pretty now. I'm very proud of it. So go do that, and I can't wait to connect with you and work with some of you for a very, very successful start to your year. All right, let's get on with the video. Tip number 3 is going to be practicing neutrality around mistakes. And of course, I've got a video for that. I've got you covered. So over here in the cards, and also again in the description, I will put a link to my video about how professionals respond to mistakes. And this is just a general commentary. It's not just professionals, but it's really a commentary on how you could start to develop a relationship and response with your mistakes that allows you to practice acceptance, neutrality, so that you can move forward with your performance without really being phased, because honestly, that's what professionals do. Just like I suggested to you that you should practice putting yourself in uncomfortable situations so they become comfortable. Also, become comfortable with your mistakes. That doesn't mean you'll make more of them. Ironically, it means you'll probably handle them better and you'll be relaxed enough to move forward and do your best with the rest of the combination, rather than if you're so freaked out by the fact that you make a mistake that it's like you shut down, the whole thing feels over, you get really ashamed and embarrassed, and you just want to hide. If you're having that response, it will be much more difficult for you to dance to the best of your abilities in the rest of the combination. So really the best thing you can do is watch that video, apply the tips, and start to create a sense of neutrality and acceptance, and then moving into, like what I talk about in the video, creativity and just making the most of whatever you do next. That is going to show you off very well in auditions, and it will help you to really have a higher baseline sense of confidence and comfort in these auditions, because let's face it, most of what people are afraid of in auditions is making a mistake that will be super embarrassing. So if you take some of the edge off of making mistakes, it's really not as scary. Number 4 is kind of tagging on to what I've already said. Take some time to actually write out what are some aspects of your dancing that out of all the things you could do stand out as highlights. I want to use the term highlights. Strengths can get really tricky for people. I know that so many dancers, especially the ones I've worked with as a coach, is a huge struggle is comparison. We are constantly setting this really high bar for what good is, how we define what it looks like to be a good dancer. And we're often looking at other dancers and saying, they have this, so I should have it. They do that, so I should do it. They're better than me. But what that does is, obviously, it's extremely discouraging and disempowering, and it is honestly just such a distracting waste of time and thought and energy, and we know this. And also, if that's something you struggle with habitually, that is something I really help with as a high performance coach. I really specialize in helping with the mental aspect of performing your personal best. So if you'd like to get in touch with me to work one-on-one, I'd love to hear from you. Link is in the description to my website. But anyway, the thing is that I really want to encourage you to ask yourself, out of all the things you can do, what stands out as being some of the things that you are better at for yourself compared to other things that you do. super, super, super important that you just keep that measure contained with compared to your own skill set and not other people's skill sets. And then whether that is, you know, you enjoy certain steps more, even if you don't feel great at it, maybe you enjoy a certain step a bit more than others. That enjoyment is important. People love to see passion for dance. People love to see that radiant joy coming out of you while you are doing whatever movement you enjoy. So identify what those few things are and start to play with those in your ballet classes. Ask yourself, how can I turn up the volume on that? If I really like port de bras, how can I make it bigger? If I like traveling, I mean, respectfully, how can I do that more? Obviously, don't be that person who like totally runs people over. Please don't. Please don't. But you know, you can really take up space. Okay, point number 5 might seem a little silly to you, but I don't care. Personally, it changed my life, and I want to share it with you. I discovered this like I think around 19, 20 years old, something like that, maybe early 20s. I realized that I started to develop this picture in my head of this kind of character that I wanted to play, so to speak, as I show up every day in class, as I dance, as I perform. And this character in my mind, maybe persona is a good word for it, is kind of this image in my head of what my essence is, who I am and what I look like, how I dance when I am at my personal best. It's literally a picture in my head that I have, and it's combined with the feeling in my body of like grace and confidence and expansiveness. Like I have this idea that's just so clear, and because I'm using my imagination, the imagination is an incredibly powerful tool. That's why visual rehearsal before performances works so well. It trains your subconscious mind, which runs your body, to actually get used to performing at the same level that you want to perform. Same thing with creating this persona. When you have a clear picture and feeling of like, what does it look like when you show up as your best self in class and as you dance? Connect to yourself that clear picture with the feeling in your body of like what that feels like, and you can tap into that imagery and that feeling at any time that you choose to pull it up in your mind and start taking class as that person. It is so cool, and it actually helped me to start to develop this sense of like a personal brand, like I'm an individual, I'm an artist. And it really helped me to overcome a lot of comparison because I stopped placing my value so much on measuring up to other people, which led to more insecurity and self-doubt and just being very self-critical. And instead I started to really embody this persona that I really like that person. I like myself when I'm at my best self. I love dancing like that. And so it gave me a way to, yeah, show up as my best instead of being so fixated on being the best. Okay, second to last is remember that your energy, the emotion you have, the presence that you have in class and in these auditions really speaks very loudly for you. And it is really important to embody and share from a genuine place the joy you have for dance. Or maybe if that's not a huge fit for your personality, the soulfulness, the passion, the calmness, the gentleness, the graciousness, whatever kind of label you would put on the persona you have, or like when you're dancing at your best, again, what is that feeling that you get from dance that you love so much? Start tapping into that in your classes so you get used to embodying it and sharing it in these auditions. It's so important, you guys, because everyone in these auditions is going to be playing the game of who has the best technique. Obviously, you want to show your technique. Obviously, people, I mean, listen, I could get on this channel and share lots of technique tips. I mean, I'm pretty good with pedagogy and kinesiology, and I can teach really, really well. But the thing is, like, these are the tips a lot of people don't talk about, which is the mental component of optimum performance. Everyone knows, like, use the training you have and present your technique to the best of your abilities. But, like, I just want to tell you that I watch dancers all the time. A lot of them can have great technique, but I'm just kind of like, okay, when all they are focused on is their technique, and I can tell because their presence is just kind of like very inward versus the dancer who's like outward and generous with their energy and they're expansive and they're enjoying themselves. I'm so attracted to watching that dancer. So don't forget that that is a superpower of yours, and it feels freaking good. So start to feel good in your ballet classes to rehearse sharing that in your auditions. The last tip for you is to focus on your quality. Very specifically, you could start to tap into the sense of resistance that you feel through your footwork or lightness that you feel in your jumps. Start to play with the quality in your actual movements, because when you create more of a dynamic quality and you're very intentional with it, that actually shows a bunch of maturity and intentionality. It makes you look very well trained and also very smart. Okay, I know a lot of you watching are auditioning for summer programs. Big secret, you have a higher chance of getting into a higher level if you just look older and more mature. It's really weird, but I noticed it. I went to so many summer programs, you guys. I'm very blessed to say that. I noticed it again and again. Like the dancers that showed themselves off in a very mature way, they almost always got that shortcut to the next level, even if their technique was like not as good as some people in the lower level. Really interesting. So quality is a big one, like quality of not just the technical stuff like the footwork, but you know, in your port de bras, are you really having like a full plie? Do you have a sense of ease in your body? Things like that. So start working on that artistic quality beyond just, you know, good technique. And that's going to really help you. So you guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I would love to hear which of these tips you're excited to put into action. I'm wishing you the very best in audition season. Thank you so much for watching. Stick around for next week's video. Subscribe, like, comment, you know, all the stuff. I'd love to interact with you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.